Sara, it's great to be here with you today. What a beautiful showroom. And in fact, I recognize in the showroom, we just renovated our Washington, D.C. office. I recognize some of my very favorite pieces.
That's terrific. You're
here.
learning.
Yeah. As you think about your journey at Steelcase, how did what you did prepare you for where you are today?
I've been really fortunate for the vast majority of my career at Steelcase to have had the opportunity and the privilege to work in lots of different parts of the business. Everything else I've done at Steelcase has involved me leading teams and leading really great people who have deep subject matter expertise in areas where I know nothing. So I think once you realize, wow, I'm in charge of IT and I know nothing about technology, you have to figure out really quickly, how do I adapt? How do I find the places where I can add value? How do I figure out what matters and what I'm going to bring to this team that's going to be useful? Because it's not the subject matter expertise. It's got to be something else.
When you made the decision to go to Steelcase, what about the mission, the product, the service? I mean, what inspired you about Steelcase?
Yeah. What really attracted me was the mission. This idea of helping people work better really resonated with me. Most people in the world spend most of their lives working. Even if we could just make that a little bit better, when you think about that kind of at scale, it's really compelling and really exciting. Maybe too often the conversation focuses on kind of when and where, and not enough on why. I think why is actually the operative question that I would encourage business leaders to spend more time thinking about. And even in cases where I've seen organizations attempt to answer the question of why, oftentimes why is framed in terms of the benefit to the company. If you're here in person in the office, you can collaborate more effectively and innovation can happen faster. Well, that's great for the individual, but that really is in a way a benefit to the company. So I would encourage organizations to spend more time thinking about and communicating and talking to employees about why is this good for you? Why is this good for people? And how do we think at a really individual and human level? Physical space is the most visible artifact of culture. And it's such a powerful lever that to not be leveraging it really intentionally, I think is a big miss. Spend less time at least worrying about, is it 3 days a week or 4 days a week? Spend more time thinking about, do we know what parts of our culture we deeply value and want to make sure we maintain and carry forward?
Culture is so important. Our proposition to everyone we hire is you're going to have fast learning. You're going to be shoulder to shoulder. There's going to be iteration and development. And so it really is, it's the balance of all of that, which we promise to our people and we have to deliver on. And actually we have to be good at to deliver on our client promise, but also, maybe a little bit of that flexibility so that it's not prescriptive as it was back in 2019.
How are you thinking about the culture piece of that in an environment that's so intensely kind of built on collaboration?
Have a really clear purpose and understand what you're getting out of it. Secondarily, leadership. You can't just have the junior people in the office and the senior people at home. You have to have the full team. How is Steelcase thinking about AI, both in terms of the physical environment and also the digital environment?
If AI is doing tasks rather than whole jobs, then I think it raises really interesting questions about how work process has to change. So when you're still doing 80% of your job but not the other 20, and I'm doing 60% of my job but not the other 40, it's you and it's me and it's AI all braided together. How does the way you and I work together and the people upstream and downstream of us, how does that whole end-to-end process now have to be redesigned?
Can you talk a little bit about your, how you think about sustainability and end of life stage for your product?
This is something that we are really proud of. The way that we focus our efforts is really intentional, trying to aim at the places where we believe the nature of our work and our business can have the most impact. So really there are three key pillars. One being how we choose and use materials responsibly. The second is trying to embed circularity into everything we do. And then the third is how do we reduce our carbon footprint, which is a goal many organizations are pursuing as well. And on that one, I'm really proud to share that earlier this year, we announced our commitment to a net zero future by 2050 and published a transition plan. So we've made the commitment, but we've also put the hard work into really thinking deeply about how we're going to make that happen.
I think we've worked with 700 different clients on about 1,500 projects related to climate, and it's very, very broad. So it's everything from circularity in beauty to energy transition to food systems and agriculture. We have hired in deep experts in the climate space, and then we've also developed our own people to create a climate unit within BCG. It's fascinating work to do. It's important work in terms of helping our clients, and there's a lot of uptake from BCG people who are really excited to work on it.
One of the perhaps silver linings of those really difficult days of the pandemic was that like all playbooks that any of us ever knew, went out the window. The silver lining part of that is, I think, at least at Steelcase, I give just tremendous credit to our whole organization. I mean, our employees, our leadership team, everybody was really able to just be like, okay, like new playbook, let's just like roll up our sleeves and figure it out. And again, I think that's where some of our culture really helped us. So one of the things that we've spent time, really focused on is like, how do we not lose that? Right? How do we not revert back to deeply held beliefs about this is the way we do things? But there's a lot of room within that to think about change and adaptation and evolution.
What advice would you give to the younger Sara? Because there will be many watching this that would like to be a CEO someday. What sort of advice would you impart?
To be patient combined with having ambition and drive and big dreams. And I say that because I think it's really easy. If you are someone who has big dreams and ambition and you're like, someday I want to be in that, that CEO job, I think it can be sometimes easy to get ahead of yourself and lose sight of the fact that like every job you're in, even the most basic kind of entry-level career starting kind of job is like an amazing opportunity to learn, to grow. So I would just, say, yes, have the dream, but also be patient in the sense that you never want to lose sight of like, how do I do the absolute best job I can of what I'm doing right now? Because that's the, one thing leads to another.
Have the dream, but live in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Well said.